Welcome into another Knicks Nation post-game show on this Monday evening. The New York Knicks lose to the Detroit Pistons by a final score of 119 to 124. Appreciate every single one of you joining me here tonight. A lot of stuff to get into. Hit the Discord if you want to call in, voice your frustrations. Smash the like button, the whole nine, subscribe. Guys. The hot and cold with these New York Knickerbockers continue. That's the most frustrating part. Is you come off a great win versus Milwaukee, feeling good. Brunson, amazing game versus Milwaukee, feeling good, blow them out. And you're like, all right, we back on track. Let's go. We got Detroit coming up. Revenge, because we've lost to the Detroit Pistons last month in the beginning of December, where they came into MSG and beat you also. And you're like, okay, you got Detroit on the schedule, but Knicks had other plans tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. You know how there's games where you really get pissed off? Tonight was one of those games where, you know, you kind of knew, you kind of were thinking to yourself and saying to yourself, like, this Knicks team was going to get over the hump, right? They were going to, you know, get a lead, sustain it, and win the game. Obviously, some calls in the fourth quarter that were questionable. We'll get into it all. Appreciate every single one of you joining me here tonight. But, yeah, it's a sour mood, man. It's just another frustrating loss for this Knicks team. And, you know, right when you thought, you know, Bucks win, great win, you got it back-to-back, you come out looking good, you get the Pistons in the second half, just take over. Cade Cunningham, you couldn't stop him in the second half. No defense being played. Another role player just hurting you, and Malik Beasley tonight with 22 off the bench. It's a trend. It's a trend, right? We're seeing trends. Role players, bench players on the opponent's teams just hurt the Knicks. It's a trend. It's frustrating. It is frustrating, man. And, you know, we can go through the box score. We'll talk about a lot tonight. I see you guys in the chat. Oh, man. This to me, like, I know the OKC game was you know, that was a bad loss, but I mean, you had to show us something, right? Especially, you know, just building off the win versus Milwaukee. You kind of thought, okay, that hopefully that'll get them going again. And the Detroit Pistons, look, we looked at this schedule. They're not a slouch anymore. Look, we blew them out, the first couple of games of the season? They're not the same team. They are not. And if this Knicks team, look, this Knicks team should not be losing to this Detroit Piston team at home. Point blank. Point blank. Pistons, are they a good team? Yes. They are above the 500 team. They should not be coming into MSG and beating this Knicks team. They shouldn't. If you want to be a dominant team in this league, if you want to, you know, be a championship team in this league, you got to win these games, man. You got to build off the Bucks win. You got to beat the Pistons at home. And this is no shade at the Pistons. They played extremely well tonight, and we'll get into the game. But this Knicks team should not have lost this damn game. They shouldn't have. Frustration continues, man. Loud and clear. This one was rough. What's going on, Loud and Clear? Appreciate you in the chat. Jaw skillful. We let the Pistons and Bulls beat us twice. This is the major problems, and fans need to stop turning a blind eye. Jaw skillful. We'll talk about a lot. Joel, what's going on? Calm Night. What's going on, Calm Night? Nostalgic. What's going on? Big Task. See you in the chat. Jaden, can't blame Thibs this game. This falls on the players itself. Jaden, I got something to say about Tom Thibodeau in that third quarter with his rotations, by the way. I mean, for you not to play Campaign and Deuce McBride, I don't even think Deuce McBride didn't even come in the game in the third quarter until, the last 2 minutes in the quarter, last minute or something like that. So his rotations are still floundering. But what's going on, Big Task? This team's chemistry is also Ron B's task in the building. Knicks lost at the third quarter from Jack City. What's going on, everybody? I see you guys in the chat. Appreciate every single one of you in the chat. Yeah, guys. Going back to my Knicks point. You shouldn't lose against the Pistons at home in the MSG. And I know this Knicks team right now is not playing well. They're not. And which is why it's like they're confusing right now. They're extremely confusing. They're inconsistent. They're playing an inconsistent brand of basketball, which is that's why it's getting me frustrated. Because yesterday against the Bucks, amazing game, right? Amazing game. Led by your leader, led by your captain. Today, you came in. It's a back-to-back. I understand that. But Cat hurt his thumb. A lot of chirping going back and forth with Anunoby and Stewart, which I love. You don't really see that from Anunoby. Bridges finally snapped out of his funk with 6 threes tonight, right? You shouldn't lose to the Detroit Pistons at home. If the New York Knicks, guys, we think the New York Knicks are, a team that hopefully will make it past 2 rounds. But what they've shown you in the past week is like they're floundering here. Like, I don't know what to trust. I don't know what to read into, really. It's like every game is a different story. Every game is a different chapter with this Knicks team ever since the OKC game in OKC when we started our tough schedule, right? Hardest schedule remaining in the NBA. And every game since then, the losses have been bad. The wins have been, okay, this is Knicks basketball. And it's like every game is a different chapter. Every game is a different look. And look, you look at the box score, 31 points from Brunson, 11 assists, 26 and 12 from Cat, 27 from Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart doing his thing, magnet rebounder Josh Hart. But once again, you can't stop nobody. And in this league, if you can't stop nobody, you're not going to win. You're not going to win if you can't stop nobody. The Knicks held Cade Cunningham in check in the first half. They had him with 4 personal fouls in the first half. He finished with 4 personal fouls. They stopped being aggressive with Cade. They stopped being aggressive with him. Cade was cooking them in the second half. And it's literally like he was going right at the defender, whether it was OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. He was getting in the paint at will. And look, Cade Cunningham is a great player. But the third quarter is what killed this team, man. You give up 36, you score 27 in the fourth quarter. You tie with 29 points with both teams. The third quarter is what killed this team coming out of halftime. You couldn't stop Cade. And again, role player Malik Beasley, 6 of 8 from 3. It's honestly incredible. It is honestly incredible. Every role player against the Knicks off the bench is shooting like 6 of 8 from 3, 7 to 10 from 3. I don't know what's happening. But guess what? They're being left open. It's one thing if they're hitting tough contested shots, but they're being left open. And Malik Beasley is a great shooter in this league, and 6 of 8 from 3 killed him. Ron B, Thibs substitutions are terrible. Yeah, Ron, we'll talk about that third quarter, man, upcoming. Oh, man, the Castro, what's going on? Who knows what this team will be like when we play them again in April? Johnson, can I say that please stop the daydream of this team? Honestly, we are not better than the Pistons. Johnson, I disagree. This Knicks team is better than the Pistons. They should. I know we lost. I know we've lost our last 2 games versus Detroit. And I know schematic-wise, they're doing something that the Knicks just can't figure out. Again, this Knicks starting 5 against zone defense, it's simple stuff like that. Against zone defense. You mean to tell me a starting 5 of Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, OJ Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart cannot figure out zone defense? How is that possible? And it's over and over and over again. After timeouts, it's on the whiteboard before games, I'm assuming. It's been like that since a couple of years ago in the playoffs. After a timeout, teams throw off the Knicks by going zone. And this Knicks team just can't figure it out. They just can't. And that's the frustrating part. Right? On top of that, the turnovers tonight were terrible. Terrible. Absolutely terrible, the turnovers tonight. What they have is 6 first-quarter turnovers. They had as much turnovers as, I think they had like 12 field goals made in the first quarter. So turnovers tonight were abysmal. Abysmal. 17 turnovers as a team. 17. 13 points from your bench. And let's get to the third quarter. Look, Tom Thibodeau, I know he's working with a bench that right now that's, Payne, again, I think in the second quarter, campaign was just lighting it up. Lighting it up in the second quarter. But Tom Thibodeau, in the third quarter, doesn't trust his subs. Campaign and Deuce McBride didn't get in the game in the third quarter. How is that happening? Why is that happening? I understand that you want to win the game, but it's a trend now with Tom Thibodeau. In the second half, he deviates from his plan and all hell breaks loose. Doesn't trust his subs in the second half. And when Campaign is shooting the lights out, back-to-back games with him playing well, why not go to him sooner? Why not feed the hot hand, right? The thing in this game, which kind of makes these two teams different, is when JB Bickerstaff, fourth quarter, I think there was like 6 minutes left, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He takes out Cade Cunningham. Why? To get him a breather. He trusted his sub in Marcus Sasser, who in those minutes in that fourth quarter gave them what they wanted. Marcus Sasser hit a 3. He had a nice assist, 4 assists from Sasser. He trusted his subs. Look, I know Sasser is a good upcoming young player in this league. Look, Pistons, they went, what? How many guys did they play today? 11 guys today, right? 10 guys today. That right there was, I was like, wow, would Tom Thibodeau do that? And he has done that sometimes this year. But he gets Cade a breather in the fourth quarter. It works out. Cade comes back in the game and dominates because he has rested legs, only playing 32 minutes tonight, and that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote, man. And look, the back and forth with Anunoby and Isaiah Stewart flexing his jersey at the end of the game towards Jalen Brunson. Look, they won the game. They can do whatever the heck they want. You love to see that fire from OJ Anunoby, but Anunoby, man, only attempted 9 field goal attempts. So, look, I don't want to look too much into things, but ever since Josh Hart made those comments about, personal agendas and, not caring about personal accolades, Anunoby's shots have gone down. 9 field goals today, 0-2 from 3 turnovers. Offensively, it just hasn't hit the same, right? Since the Denver game, just hasn't hit the same for Anunoby. He's losing the ball. He's struggling with his handles. It just hasn't looked right with him offensively. And look, this Knicks team right now is going through it, guys. They're going through it. Appreciate you guys in here. Here's some of these comments. Look, I even got a new Knicks hat. I thought I was going to flaunt it over a big Knicks win. And no. They had other plans. Oh, man. El Figgy. What's going on? This one is on Tom Thibodeau. Smash the comments, guys. Appreciate you guys voicing your frustration. This one was another frustrating game. Leaving the corner 3 open is our killer with every team. Bad rotations, Castro. Need to see something from Landry Shamet. You're not seeing anything from Landry Shamet. Look, he was out of the rotation yesterday. Today he played 4 minutes. Didn't play in the second half. It's frustrating because Shamet has, I felt like he was starting to get there. Defensive effort was there. His shot just wasn't falling, but he's been bad, man. His offense has been bad. Defense, I love the hustle. I love the, aggression, but yeah, you're not getting anything from Shamet. And honestly, you're not getting anything from Precious Achiuwa right now either. You're not. And that is hurting this Knicks team offensively. Precious does a lot of good things. Rebound, defense, block shots. He does a lot of things really good. But the one thing that this Knicks team needs Precious to do sometimes is shoot, stress the floor, score. Kind of like that, like a Al Horford, like with Boston, sit in the corner, hit those corner threes. That's just not in Precious's game. So this is not a shot at Precious, but it's hurting this Knicks bench. It is. And when McBride and Payne had it tonight, but if they don't have it offensively, you're not going to get anything. You're not. You're not, man. You're not. Yuri, he took out Mikal in the fourth quarter. He did. Yuri. Yuri, I see you in the voice chat. Get to you call later, man. Jaden, somehow Mikal having a great game gets overshadowed once again. Great to see Mikal Bridges snap out of it, Jaden. Honestly. Efficient night for Mikal Bridges, 9 of 13, 6 of 8. He was the only reason why, in my opinion, the Knicks were in the game and in the final, in the fourth quarter. He hit some tough shots in the fourth quarter. Brunson also hit some tough shots in that fourth quarter. Brunson 1 of 7 from 3, after 5 of 10 last night. So missed a couple of open ones too, especially late in the fourth that were like, you really want it. But Bridges 6 of 8, you love it. But that just goes back to my point about this Knicks team just being inconsistent, right? It's like you shouldn't have lost this game at the end of the day. You shouldn't have lost this game. You shouldn't have lost this game. Oh, man. This one freaking hurt, man. This one hurt. Nostalgic says everyone has to be evaluated. Precious can be traded this Wednesday. Then Ron B says badly constructed team and a lot of Mikal shots weren't drawn up too from Jaden. Mikal was awesome today. Awesome. Offensively, shot was falling, quick release, corner threes where he was hitting them. It's honestly watching Mikal shoot the basketball like that. It's extremely fun to watch. But look, the problem tonight wasn't offense, guys. It was defense. I mean, Cade Cunningham was going downhill, pick and roll every time, and the Knicks just couldn't stop him. Literally attacking his defender, full steam, and he operates so swiftly. He's not really doesn't really have speed to his game, but the way he's like 6'7", 6'8", he's just a great player. And when it mattered the most, he hit tough shots. Now we have to worry about Towns with his thumb. Hopefully that's okay. He's holding his thumb in behind his back today. So I'm hoping that's nothing serious. But, man, this I don't know. I don't know what you do right now. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, the Knicks are still ahead of their win total. This same time last year, I posted a tweet on the Knicks Nation page. But I don't know. This stretch right now that the Knicks are in right now, I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't like the way they look in these losses. Defensively, they just look bad. I know it's a back-to-back. Pistons have been playing well, but you got to do something right? You got to do something with this bench. This bench just can't stay like this. And I've been going back and forth in my head, like, what would you do? What would you do? Starting five is elite. But do you take someone off the starting five and put them on the bench? Do you? There's an option to put Josh Hart on the bench, start Deuce McBride. This way you get a guy off the bench, jack of all trades, that can defend his ass off and hit open shots. And Deuce is a more off-ball guard. He'll have a lot of open looks at the two. What do you do? I'm just going through my like, honestly. I know you're 26-15, so it's like you don't want to change things. But something has to give. Something kind of has to give, man. Because right now, I do not trust Tom Thibodeau in his rotations at all. I don't. Just being real. I'm just being real. I don't trust Tom Thibodeau in his rotations. It's too inconsistent, right? It's too inconsistent. Like today, he rested Mikal. Mikal only played 37 minutes today. Rested him in the first quarter. Sat him in the fourth quarter, trying to get his rest. Towns 43 minutes today. Brunson 39 minutes. Hart 38. The bench, literally, you didn't get anything from the bench in the second half. And it's like when they sit that long, when Payne had that great second quarter, in my opinion, the dude sat so long. He sat the entire third quarter, halftime. So by the time he came in, he's out of rhythm again. Right? Dib needs to realize that, look, Payne has it again. Let me play him more. And I know they were attacking him defensively, the Pistons. Payne is a smaller guy. But still, yeah, I mean, the awareness sometimes with these substitution patterns are just blow my mind, honestly. So it hurts, man. It hurts when Mikal performs so well. Yeah, man. If we lose to the dog water Sixers, especially because of our rivalry, fans are going to go crazy. We can't lose every single back-to-back. OG needs to work on his shots, to be honest. He's very much in a slump. Castro, the thing about OG Anunoby, right? Only attempted 9 shots. He was 5-9 and 0-2 from 3. But it's his handles right now are just off. Is it just me, or was his handles better last season than they were this season? I mean, too many times he just loses the ball and slips out of his hand, and you're sitting there like, what's going on? Like, is he not getting a grip of the basketball? Too many times he's going through his moves, and the ball he just loses the ball, just loses the basketball. Yeah, look, 3 turnovers tonight, but yeah, man. It's a slump. It's a slump for Anunoby. And I thought Towns, 4-9 from 3 tonight, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 26 points. I thought that in the last minute, the offensive foul that they called on Karl-Anthony Towns in that last minute, I thought you could have let that go, honestly. And the way that this game was being called, I thought the referees, I've seen worse screens that just haven't been called, and I thought they could have just let that one go. Game was flowing. Just let them play at that point, but they just couldn't hit timely shots, and they couldn't stop Cade. They just couldn't stop Cade. And when Cade, I tweeted on the Knicks Nation page, I said the Knicks had Cade in shackles in the first half. Pistons fans, come after me right now, because I don't know what happened in the second half. That third quarter, he figured something out, and he was like, the Knicks just can't stop me. I'm going to be aggressive. They just can't stop me. I know he was in foul trouble in the first half, so that kind of threw off his game. But still, Cade has 4 fouls in the third quarter. Somebody go after him. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of Cade Cunningham having 4 fouls to start the third quarter. Game plan, simple. All right, guys. Cade Cunningham has 4 fouls. So we're trying to go after him in his third quarter and have him pick up his 5th foul. Just simple stuff like that, where it's like you could have got him out the game. You could have just... It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. OG's play looks so clanky now. Castro says, "Yup, he was better last season. I think it's his elbow is the reason." Jaden says, "We have the hardest schedule in the league coming up. We need to lock in and fast, or else it's going to be hell in New York." Chris says, "With the schedule they have coming up the rest of the season, the Knicks are lucky they make it as a play-in team." Guys, we've talked about this schedule, right? We've talked about this schedule. We've talked about the Knicks having the hardest remaining schedule in the NBA since the OKC game. And since that game, guys, it just seems like they got shook in that. Something happened in that game, right? Because you've lost 5 out of your last 7 games after winning 9 straight. So, which is why the 9-game winning streak is so important, because you're 26-15. You're still 11 games over 500. Still in a good spot in the Eastern Conference, yada, yada, yada. That's important. It is. But the issue is you're just inconsistent right now. Just too inconsistent. You've lost now to Orlando. You lost now to Detroit. So, and then, like someone said in the chat, let's see what happens on Wednesday versus Philadelphia. These teams are going to make the playoffs. Pistons are going to make the playoffs. Orlando's going to be there at the end. OKC's in the West, so I'm not worried about them. You got the Bucks number. But I go back to what I said to start this postgame. This Knicks starting 5 should not be losing to the Detroit Pistons at home. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. I know they're still getting their chemistry together, all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, they're too talented, right? Detroit, tip your hat to them. They've been playing extremely well lately. And look, JB Bickerstaff has, changed the culture of that team. And, Cleveland's playing well, and Detroit's playing well. 2 new coaches, right? So it just is not looking good. These losses are not looking good, and they're not playing well as a unit defensively right now. They're not. And look, you gave up 124, right? It's a back-to-back. You played okay versus the Bucks. You played great versus the Bucks. That was a great signature win. And that's the frustration, right? It's like Bucks win, great win, a team that's going to be there in the playoffs, and you come out today and you lose to the Pistons. You lose, man. Look, the thing, you look at the box score, there's only 2 people that really beat you. And I know Duren was giving us problems on the boards, and even though Duren fouled out, Isaiah Stewart was still giving the Knicks, some havoc, even with him talking all his, crap to OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson at the end of the game. But Malik Beasley, again, 6 of 8 from 3, 7 of 13 from the field. Another role player coming into your building and hurting you. Another role player coming into your building and hurting you. Malik Beasley tonight. It was Aaron Wiggins in OKC. Then it was, the other OKC, the guy, I forgot his name, is not coming to me. But that's the frustrating part because 6 of 8 from 3 off the bench. And these teams are getting contributions from their bench. Sasser came in, balled out. Beasley came in, shot the lights out. Stewart was a presence. Fontecchio. Probably botching his name, excuse me, but contributions, right? From everybody as a team. And then you got Cade killing him. Killing him, man. Hardaway hit a timely 3 in this game, but he was 2 of 8 from 3. Asur Thompson hit a 3. He's a 28% three-point shooter. Tobias Harris, 8 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals for Tobias Harris. I mean, look, the thing is your starters played okay. But you got nothing from Precious. You really didn't get anything from Deuce. And you got nothing from Shamet. One guy showed up from you off the bench, and that was Cameron Payne, and he didn't sniff the floor in the third quarter. By the time he came in, it's kind of like at that point, Thibs is only going to give him like 2 minutes. Show me something in these 2 minutes. If you don't hit a 3, I'm going to yank you, and that's what he did. Got Brunson back in the game, and that's all she wrote. Woody, what's going on? Appreciate you in the chat. Thank you guys for joining the show. Smash the subscribe button, guys. Smash the like button. I know it's another one of those losses that have you scratching your head. This Knicks team, hot and cold. They're really inconsistent right now. They haven't hit their rhythm, right? The 9-game winning streak, they were winning in different ways. They were finding, different ways to win. OKC game came around, and this Knicks team just has been going downhill, right? You thought they were going uphill versus the Bucks. Then they come out tonight and lay an egg. Look, you only lost by 5, but when you needed stops the most, you didn't get them. And, it's another frustrating bad loss. But it's confusing right now. This Knicks team right now is confusing. It's confusing. Jaden says, we took everything we learned from the Bucks and we threw it out the window today. Our starters continue to play way too much minutes from Michael in the chat. What's going on, Michael? Third quarter, I thought Tom Thibodeau really dropped the ball. I did. Pistons were scoring at will. So in that instance, Tom Thibodeau is not going to go to his bench. He doesn't really know how to deviate in certain situations. Like when the Pistons keep building their lead, you really think Thibs is going to trust the bench at that point, or is he going to roll with his guys, right? And he got Bridges rest in the fourth. Brunson sat a little bit in the second half. Towns 43 minutes. I don't even think Towns sat in the second half. You guys can check that for me, but he played 43 minutes tonight. I don't know if Towns sat in the second half. Right? May have sat a minute or two. But you got nothing from Precious tonight. You got really Deuce McBride, who is supposed to be your best defending guard off the bench. 17 minutes tonight. Nothing. Nada. Shamet, 4 minutes. Nada. No contributions. Oh, man. Woody. What's going on, Woody? I didn't watch the game. I cannot believe how we got an L. What? Why? How? Woody, man. Yeah. Look. Just a bad one, Woody. Just this team is just playing inconsistent right now. Our bench can't contribute because they don't play, Michael says in the chat. The most annoying part, too, is when our players get beat on the play, they look at each other confused. You saw that a lot, man. You saw that a lot. Malik Beasley was killing him. The corner three in the fourth quarter, the dagger, killed him. Right? And look, Knicks are getting beat, pick and roll stuff. It's just little things like that defensively that this Knicks team is struggling with, and teams are taking advantage. And the issue is, look, Pistons, they shot 44% from three. And look, I can't believe it. Again, another day, another game. Another game, another role player giving you like 6 or 7 threes off the bench. It's honestly incredible. Honestly. But all the Knicks have to do is point to themselves. They have to point to themselves. They have to look themselves in the mirror, rotate better, and just do your damn job on defense. The rotations right now are poor. Very poor. Even Sasser came in and hit 1 or 2. It's even Isaiah Stewart attempted a 3, and it almost went in, actually. So, look, teams are exploiting the Knicks, and they know they can get to the paint like Cade did today, and they know if they get to the paint and swing that ball around, because that's what you saw the Pistons do, they can get easy buckets. TA says, what are we doing? Michael says, fire Thibs, fire Thibs, fire Thibs. Thibs plays to win the second and third quarter, and it kills us. Jaden, yes. Look, again, I pointed to that third quarter. I thought Tom Thibodeau dropped the ball with his substitutions in that third quarter. I really do. I do. At no point should especially campaign, man. I mean, the guy has been, yesterday he played great. Today he was playing great in the second half. You're like, okay, campaign is back. Campaign is back. Those dagger threes, those extra threes that we needed off the bench, the boost that give this team like a confidence boost, were there tonight. And I thought just, bad substitution patterns in that third quarter, in my opinion. Michael says he also screwed up when he took Bridges out when he was on a heater. Yeah, Bridges was rolling, and I know he was trying to get Mikal Bridges some rest there in that fourth quarter, and he was, just trying to get him a couple of minutes there to spare, like sort of what the JB Bickerstaff did with Cade Cunningham, right, in that fourth quarter. He trusted his bench. He went to Sasser, subbed out Cade Cunningham, middle of the fourth quarter. Even Mike Breen was like, "Whoa, Cade Cunningham's going to the bench for a couple of minutes." And JB Bickerstaff trusts Sasser. And in those minutes, I thought that's what won the Pistons the game. In those minutes, Sasser came in, played well, hit a 3, got a couple of assists. And then, Knicks had chances at the end, offensive foul on Cat. But I thought in those minutes, that was very important for, Cade to get an extra breather. And look, Cade was awesome tonight, man. He's going to be an all-star. He should be an all-star this year. He's incredible. But, again, this Knicks team, the way it's constructed right now, the zone defense thing confuses me. A starting five of, all these guys that can shoot lights out, right? I know, Anunoby's going through a funk right now. Cat was great tonight in terms of shooting the 3. They should be able to beat zone. You got Mikal Bridges, the mid-range assassin, who we thought, like, coming into this season, you're like, okay, teams can't go zone because you got Mikal Bridges who can shoot lights out in the mid-range, and he was today, but they just couldn't figure it out, and they were just throwing the Knicks off their game. And it's a recurring thing when opponents, Knicks call timeout, try to regroup, Thibs draws up a play. I know the Knicks have, play 1, play 2, play 3. If a team goes zone, do this. If a team, plays man, do this. But out of timeouts, this Knicks team struggles with zone. They do. Struggle. And it's on the opponent's board. and they took advantage. Dame, what's going on, Dame? Haven't seen you in here in a minute. Hope all is well. Dame Tubes, what's going on in the chat, man? Just chopping it up after another Knicks loss, man. Another Knicks loss. Michael says, why do we have Toppin and Ryan on two-way deals opposed to someone who can contribute like Warren, Brown, Kiki? Look, right now, Tom Thibodeau only trusts really three guys off that bench, guys. It's Precious Achiuwa, it's Campaign, and it's Miles McBride. And when Mitchell Robinson comes back, that's your fourth guy that he trusts. But honestly, I go back to Precious. They need him. They need another 3-and-D wing off that bench, man. They need Precious to score, man. They do. And look, offense is not really the Knicks' issue, right? I know you're scoring 119. You should be able to win the game. But having that extra threat in the corners, and I know Precious has tried to work on his corner threes, and he tried to work on it this summer. And look, he's even hit a couple this year, right? But you need him to, be a threat from the outside to kind of open up things. And he's not. So he does a lot of good things very well. Rebound, defense, he does. But it's going to be interesting if the Knicks pivot off Precious Achiuwa, right? If they go in another direction. A lot of rumors regarding Jericho Sims, who was out today with back spasms. A lot of rumors surrounding that. But the way this Knicks bench right now is currently constructed, it doesn't give you confidence, right? It doesn't really make you feel good. And I go back to what do you guys think the Knicks would do? It's been going back and forth in my head. Do you think they put Hart off the bench? Do you think they demote Josh Hart even though he's having a career year? Heck, I've even thought about, I know this is not going to happen, but I'm just going through different scenarios in my head. Do you put Anunoby on the bench? It just seems like somebody, it just seems like I think this Knicks team honestly would bode well with Josh Hart coming in off the bench because he's still going to look. Thibs is still going to play him 30 to 35 minutes off the bench, right? But when Deuce is in there and Tom Thibodeau really doesn't, today he staggered his bench. He hasn't been staggering his bench. Today he did. But I think McBride in the starting lineup, good catch and shoot, 3-point shooter, good defender. He's actually a sneaky good offensive rebounder too. I don't know what you do. I'm just thinking out loud. I could be totally wrong, guys, but I don't know. Oh, man. Everyone who said we had an easy schedule in January jinxed us. Got to catch up with these comments. You saw Cat and JB miss key threes. I blame them. JB in that fourth missed a key three. 1 of 7 from 3 tonight, but he looked 31 and 11 from JB. The timely shots in the fourth hurt. The timely misses. But JB, I thought was good, honestly. 31 and 11 from JB. Cat with 6 turnovers, including that offensive foul in the final minute, which I thought, again, could have gone either way, but still, you got to be better there. You got to set your feet, whether you think it was an offensive foul or not. They called it. So at the end of the day, you lost. And Anunoby, we talked about him. It's the hands right now. The handling is like Butterfingers. Right? It's like every time he's dribbling, every time he touches the ball, it seems like he's losing it. And I don't want to call him a Nerlens Noel because we all remember Nerlens Noel. Every time we passed Noel the ball, it went off his hands and went out of bounds. And I'm kind of getting those flashbacks a little bit because I'm like, what? He's better than this. That's the thing. And that's where you kind of think that the elbow could be bothering him and this and that, but it's not where you want it to be for Anunoby, that's for sure. All right, hit some of these comments. What I notice is Bridges and OG don't rebound. Towns defensively a suspect, and Thibs is not trusting the bench from Gilbert. What's going on, Gilbert? Appreciate you in the chat. Yeah, look. Bridges' assist numbers have been up. Anunoby 3 rebounds today. Has never been a strength in his game, the rebounding, right? So, look, Knicks 42 rebounds. Pistons had 40. You out-rebounded them. But the offensive rebounds from the Pistons tonight were honestly killer. Isaiah Stewart had 3. Duren had 4. And Tobias Harris had 2. And that kid, Asura Thompson, he's a baller, man. They got players over there. Look, it doesn't look good when the Pistons have come into MSG twice now, last month and this month, and beat you. It doesn't look good, man. It doesn't look good. And this Knicks team is better than that. And when you got Isaiah Stewart trying to punk y'all and, flexing his jersey, screaming at Anunoby, and again, I love that Anunoby went back at him, was screaming at Stewart. You really love to see that passion from Anunoby because you really don't see that from him. And you thought, like, that dunk that Anunoby had on Stewart, you're like, okay, let's go now. Let's play. Let's play ball. Let's play basketball. Chippy. Even Precious was going out, Isaiah Stewart. Brunson was going out, Isaiah Stewart. So you thought to yourself, like, okay, this Knicks team has shown you when teams try to punk them, they answer back and they punch them in their mouth, right? But today they just couldn't. Defensively, they just didn't have it. And I thought that dunk that Anunoby had on Stewart was going to get him going. But look, only attempted 9 shots, and it's funky, man. It's just all funky. The offensive stuff from Anunoby, it's too inconsistent. Honestly, it's like one day he's like amazing, right? Offensively, the Raptors game a couple of games ago. You're like, all right, Anunoby, he's back. Like, this is just hasn't been consistent. I know there's one basketball and, there's a lot of mouths to feed in the starting 5. But that's when I think to myself, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of mouths to feed. You're the best. I think you're top 5 in offensive rating. Does it bode well for you to put someone in the starting 5 off the bench to kind of give that Knicks bench a boost? Will that make you better in the long run? And it's something that they have to think about. It's something they got to think about, in my opinion. Because this coach, like, let's say you put Hart off the bench. He's still going to play Hart his normal 35 to 40 minutes. Still, with him on the bench. But it's something that I question. Like, does it bode well for the Knicks to plug someone from the starting 5 off the bench? Obviously not Bronson, not Cat, but I could be overreacting, but you got to figure something out, man. You got to. All right, hit some of these comments. Precious is trying defensively, but we're only getting offense from Cat and Brunson from TA. Jaden says this team is useless with Thibs because he doesn't know how to utilize others on the team. Thibs only knows how to use his stars and have others players run cardio. Woody, we'll talk about the Sims trade rumors towards the end. But yeah, Woody, Sims is in trade rumors, so we'll talk about that and what I think about that in a bit. But Gilbert says, I think you have to play Hukporti a little. He's a lob threat, but a rim protector. Thibs mentioned that in yesterday's press conference, saying Hukporti is an energy guy and rim protector, so play him. Gilbert, I've been saying that, but it's like he doesn't play him. He just doesn't play him. And what you're seeing now is Hukporti leapfrog Jericho Sims in the depth chart. Yeah. You know how the NFL comes out with depth charts, and Tom Thibodeau takes that stuff seriously. What they're doing in practice, what they're doing behind the scenes, Thibs is watching. And Hukporti has leapfrogged Jericho Sims. So, but right now, it's like you need a presence down there. The Knicks are missing that. And you just can't just wait until Mitch Robinson comes back. You just can't. Mitch, we're good. We're 11 games over 500. Let's just wait until Mitch comes back. No, you can't. You can't just keep kicking the can down the road and not giving these guys opportunities, because when Porty has played, you see 2 blocks when you got blown out versus OKC. 2 or 3 blocks in the limited time he played. So I agree, man. OG with the ball is like a bull in a china shop. Chris says, agree, OG on offense just isn't that good. His defense makes up for it, though. Yeah, that's for sure, man. That's for sure. There's a key ingredient missing from this team. I just don't know what it is. It's deeper than a 3-and-D wing player off the bench. I think they need someone with some fire, man. They need someone like a campaign, but a wing. A campaign with like a 6'10" guy off the bench. They need like you know how the Pistons have Isaiah Stewart, someone to get in your face. And the Pistons have nothing but wings off the bench, man. Stewart. Fontecchio. I can't even pronounce his name, but Ronald Holland, wing. Stewart, big dude. Simone, wing. Big dude. It's what you need. It's what you need. Appreciate you, buzzer beater. We need to somehow bring in a veteran that can hold everyone accountable and be almost like a coach on the bench. Yeah, man. Buzzer beater says Detroit are not scrubs. Yeah, they're not. Detroit Pistons are not scrubs at all. They're not. They're not. They're very well coached, and they're led by an assassin in Cade Cunningham who's fearless. Fearless. But again, the Knicks are the more talented team, but sometimes that just doesn't work in this league. You can be the most talented team in the NBA, but if everything else isn't clicking, if your defensive rotations aren't clicking, if someone in that starting 5 isn't really giving you anything offensively, and I hate to keep pointing at Anunoby, even though he only missed 4 shots tonight. So, but if your bench isn't doing their job, and I say that in campaign, I thought did his job today. But he only played 14 minutes. But it was a mismatch. It was. Detroit was throwing wing after wing after wing out there. So, campaign doesn't bode well against that. And I honestly don't know where you go with this bench. It's a problem. Jaden says the fact that this team is relying on an injury-prone player to get things going is scary. The last thing we need to rush Richard Robinson back because of the lack of big man and bad play as a team. And he is re-injuring himself. Chris says, what's the word on Mitch? The word on Mitch is that he should be practicing in the next few weeks. He should go through his progressions. Tom Thibodeau said he should be practicing in the next couple weeks to 3 weeks. So 2 to 3 weeks he should be practicing with the Knicks. So it's looking like maybe early February, mid-February for Mitchell Robinson. So maybe a little bit right after the trading deadline for Mitchell Robinson. But Buzzer Beater says, I do believe Mitch can help us if he is used right. Buzzer Beater, Mitchell Robinson can help us a lot. He will help us a lot. But the thing I've been saying is you can't just keep waiting. Just keep waiting when you got Hukporti ready to play. And look, Hukporti's not going to save all of our problems, right? But against this team, when you kind of needed another presence down there, because Precious wasn't really giving you anything today, you kind of needed someone to play with Cat and help him out with those pick and rolls that he was He was late on, but he didn't play him. Start Mitch and Cat. Move everyone else back to their natural positions. Bring Josh Hart off the bench with Huck Porty and Daddy A. Look, the more I've thought about it, the more I think Josh Hart off the bench would bode well for this team. And it sounds crazy, honestly, because Josh Hart, honestly, has had an amazing season, career year for Josh Hart, right? And it sounds dumb for me to keep saying that. But you're searching. You're thinking about different ways how this bench can improve, right? But the thing is, you bring Josh Hart off the bench and your rebounding won't be great, because Hart is literally he tracks rebounds like no other. And he's helping the Knicks rebounding. He's pushing the pace. So, yeah, man. Oh, man. Mitch will be back in time for the Celtics, Pacers, Hawks, and Bulls. TJ Warren, Okiki, bring them up. Yuri. All right, let's get to this Discord. Yuri, and then we'll talk about the Jericho Sims trade rumors. Let's get to Yuri. I know you've been waiting in the Discord. Those of you who are new to the Knicks Nation postgame show, you can call in, join the Discord, and call in. Yuri is quickly becoming the Knicks Nation postgame exclusive caller. But it's open to all of you guys. Yuri, welcome to the show again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What you got?
So, I'm gonna be on a hot take real quick. I don't want to say this is a bad loss. I actually did enjoy the game, despite the loss. This is not a bad loss. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to say that they get it together in time for Philly. I will, however, blame Tibbs for taking Mikal out in the fourth quarter. The reason why I say that is Mikal was single-handedly carrying this team when they were behind, well, probably like the whole third quarter, fourth quarter. Why are you taking him out in the fourth quarter?
Yuri, he had to get a breather at that point, man.
No, I know he had to get a breather, but come on. If he's hot, let him stay in. The man's Iron Man for a reason. The guy played 48 minutes.
He was on a heater, man.
I'm sorry. I'm keeping Mikal. I'm keeping Mikal in. I'm keeping Mikal in. That whole fourth quarter.
But that goes back to my point about if you got Mikal Bridges some rest in that third quarter, you wouldn't have to take him out in the fourth. Right? So it's the substitution patterns, in my opinion, that Tom Thibodeau right now is struggling with. It's honestly been bad all season. And I know your bench is thin. Really your bench is thin, so obviously that factors into it. But Tom Thibodeau's substitution patterns, in my opinion, haven't been great.
Horrible. They've been horrible. Why are you subbing out Campaign when he's literally been keeping us in a game in the second quarter? If it wasn't for Campaign in that second quarter, it would have been bad. It really would have been bad. And that's what annoys me, Knicks Nation. I want to defend Tibbs, but I can't. Not on this one. And the thing about the bench, so I'm going to give you my theory on it. I'm going to give you what I would do. I would personally put Mikal on a bench. I'm going to tell you why. Keep Hart in the starting lineup. The starting lineup, I feel like, would be Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride. You have OG at the small forward. Put Hart at power forward, or put Precious at the power forward, and then put Cat at the center. At least you have a double big lineup right off the bat.
Yeah.
Have Mikal play with the bench unit.
Yeah. So it's something to watch, Yuri, but it is something to watch. But I think
right now on YouTube.
I honestly think it Hart is the guy, but I honestly don't think Tom Thibodeau's going to deviate. Look, it's the Knicks have played 41 games, right? We're half a season down, believe it or not.
I know, and I'm going to be honest. If it wasn't for December, we really would be in a hole right now.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we're still third in the East, but we're not playing like we're third in the East. And my opinion on Sibs on a trading block, I'm expecting a trade, if not this week, definitely near the trade deadline.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
That's a good segue. Appreciate the call, Yuri, again. Always appreciate the support. All right, guys. So this is the tweet that you guys have been talking about. So this is from JD Sports Talk, New York. Jalen Brunson signaled to OG Anunoby to switch with him to cover the pick with Cade. OG ignored him. While looking at him right in his face, Josh Hart again upset. I think we know who the Eagles comment may be about also. Looking at coaching for late game blunders defensively. Don't know if this was accurate, but guys, it's showing up in the box score. Again, Josh Hart said a couple of games ago, we all got to stop with the egos, the individual accolades, this and that. And actions speak louder. Actions tell you things, right? Actions tell you things. And OG Anunoby, after those comments, let's go to his game log. Milwaukee, 12 field goal attempts. OKC, 8 field goal attempts. Tonight, 9 field goal attempts. Something to watch, man. Something to watch, honestly. I don't know if there's anything going on in that locker room. I hope not. That's the last thing you want. It's the NBA season. It's a long season. I know, you got a lot of personalities in that locker room. And that's the thing with this starting five is you got 5 players with Josh Hart only really being the one of them who doesn't really care about scoring and really doesn't give 2 craps about scoring the basketball. You got 4 players that in that starting lineup who want to put the ball in the basket and who want to score. That comes with it. 1 basketball. But that goes back to my take with what do you do? Do you put someone on the bench to kind of booster the bench? But does that shatter someone's confidence? It might. And you're looking at a lot of things when it comes to that. Look, you're 11 games over 500. And like, why you're asking yourself in the front office and in Tom Thibodeau, like, I'm not doing that. Why am I doing that? I'm not being reactionary. Well, if you're not using your substitutions well, if your patterns are crap, and again, I go back to who left this summer. Johnny Bryant. Johnny Bryant left the New York Knicks to go to Cleveland. And look at Cleveland. Now, I'm not saying it's because of Johnny Bryant. I'm not. But Johnny Bryant used to help Tom Thibodeau with his subs last year and the last couple of years. He would always be in Tom Thibodeau's ear, whispering things. You really think it was plays? It was his subs. That hurt, man. That hurt. And right now you see Thibodeau searching. He's forgetting. He's like, oh, shoot. Like, I left my starters in too long. Like, what's going on? So that Johnny Bryant loss was big. It was. It was. All right. Let's talk about Mr. Jericho Sims. So Jericho Sims has been in trade rumors, ladies and gentlemen. Stefan Bondi came out with a tweet that said the Knicks are shopping Jericho Sims ahead of next month's trading deadline. League sources told the Post Thibodeau says Mitchell Robinson remains on pace to be cleared for practice this month. So Jericho Sims, Knicks are shopping him. This is from Stefan Bondi. And look, I know this Knicks team probably won't get much for Jericho Sims. It'll kind of be like a situation. There's been a lot of rumors floating around. There was a rumor from one of the reporters that the Knicks receive Alec Burks for Jericho Sims, and the Heat get Jericho Sims and a second-round pick, and the Knicks get Alec Burks again. I don't think that's what this Knicks team needs. That'll be a 3rd trip around the sun for Alec Burks in a Knick uniform. And Alec Burks, I love the guy, but I don't think you need an Alec Burks. I think you honestly need a 3-and-D wing in here, but it's going to be hard the way this first apron is set up and the way, the Knicks are constructed in terms of their money. So let's dive into this article a little bit. So a lot of ads. Trying to get to the crux of this article. He basically says Jericho Sims is out of the rotation. And then he says, but he is also a tough sell in the market as a player who is out of the rotation and will become a free agent this summer. The Knicks may also add another center this season, Mitchell Robinson, who, according to Tom Thibodeau, remains on pace to return to practice this month. But yeah, Jericho Sims is being shopped from this Knicks team. And, he was recently removed from the Knicks rotation and an active Monday with back spasms. So, when someone gets the old back spasms, this player has back spasms, it really raises the eyebrow. Like, this might be a sign that the Knicks are really close to something, or, you never know. But I thought it was interesting that, that came out, because who are you going to get for Jericho Sims, right? That's the question. Who are you going to get? Like, honestly, yeah. I would be shocked if the Knicks got anything of value, but it will sort of signify that Hukporti has leapfrogged him, which I think he has, and they think Mitch Robinson is close. And another team in this league can always use a backup center, another big. And Jericho can guard 2 to 5s, quick on his feet, good raw player. He's not really, or hasn't really worked out in New York, but the Knicks have, shopped him. And, it's interesting. Nostalgic says Cam Whitmore. That's something I've been hearing. You can kind of swap Jericho Sims with Cam Whitmore. I would love that for this Knicks team. If they were to be able to get Cam Whitmore, I would be like, sign me up for that. But let's look at Cam Whitmore's contract. Cam Whitmore. All right, he has a $3 million cap hit. Next year, he has a $5 million club option with the cap going up. I think you can make that work. And Whitmore has been out of the rotation. Young player, 20 years old, drafted in the first round by Houston in 2023. That has been floating around. That would be an amazing swap. Look, if the Knicks were to be able to get that done, in my opinion, you do that. But maybe you throw in another second. Maybe the Houston Rockets want more. They really don't have anything to, they don't have any room for Whitmore. So it's interesting. You saw Whitmore's name. You saw Burks' name. So the trading deadline is February 6th. So Jericho Sims is being shopped. And look, Sims hasn't worked out here in New York. He's gotten his opportunities, whether you want to say it's been inconsistent. But, when beginning of the season, he was in the rotation when Precious was out, had some good moments, more bad than good, right, for Jericho Sims. So that's a name which I think the Knicks will trade, and it's just going to be a name to watch. But with this bench situation, do they trade Precious? Do they trade Jericho? Do they just... It's this front office has their work cut out for them, because again, they're so close to that second apron and they don't want to hit that second apron. And the way they're set up right now is they can only match the contract. So they got to get creative here. But Jericho Sims is in trade rumors. So we shall see. We shall see. The most I can see is a second rounder at best for him. Yeah. Or they might use him as a cap filler in another trade. Whitmore can't defend and has a terrible attitude and a bad knee, strong pass. All right, guy, this year as a Knicks fan is stressing me the F out. We need to trade Sims, McBride, Precious, and Shamit. We must upgrade to fix this inconsistent. Jay Terrence. Look, man, I know you guys are frustrated. It's a frustrating loss. It is. But you got... Let's bring up the schedule, man. You got Philly coming up, right? You got Philly coming up in Philly. And Joel Embiid has been out. But, you know, the way this Knicks team is playing right now, they can lose to anybody. They can't. You got Philly, Minnesota, Atlanta. LV Live and I predicted a 3-3, 4-2 in this stretch, starting with the OKC game. You're 1-2. You're 1-2. And it doesn't get easier. It doesn't. You got to figure something out. You got to figure something out. You got to figure something out. I don't think we're going to trade for any type of backup big because they are relying on Mitch. I think they're going to try to get a scorer and wing defender. Look, the thing in the NBA is wing defenders are premium. Premium. And if you're the Knicks, look, I kind of tweeted it jokingly on my personal page. They need like a... I know a lot of people have feelings about Tobias Harris, but wouldn't Tobias Harris kind of be like perfect off this bench for this Knicks team? In my opinion. 15, 20 minutes. They need someone like that who can hit threes. Look, he's a head case. I know he's not a head case. Philly ran him out of town, but they need someone of that ilk is what I'm trying to say. And it's up to this front office to figure it out. But they will. I think they will. Huck Porty, 5. TJ, 4. Hart, 3. Okeke, 1. Shamet was a free agent for a reason. Yeah, man. Shamet, I mean, the injury kind of threw off his whole season. Deuce hasn't grown since last year. I thought he'd give us more, but maybe package him with Jericho. El Figgy. And that's kind of been the underrated thing is McBride really has been inconsistent for this team. And it goes back to my point of, do you make that switch putting him in the starting lineup? Because you need a Deuce to kind of be like a Peyton Pritchard who's, providing a spark for them off the bench. But it's hard to win when you got two guards coming in off the bench with a Precious who's, 6'8", 6'9", and you have your opponents with nothing but wings players off the bench. It's hard. It's hard. You look around the league, guys. It's depth is king. Depth is king. Your starting five, they're great, but depth is king. All right, guys. Appreciate every single one of you in here. This was tough. Subscribe. Have a great night. Thank you for the support. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. We are doing a live stream at 12:30. LB Live and I. So make sure you guys tune in to that. A lot of stuff to talk about. At the end of the day, let's go Knicks. 11 games over 500. But figure something out. Please. Peace.